Hello, folks. It's me, Bilal, and of course, I want to do my thoughts on the new Animaniacs reboot. I know the next Sega Critic episode is taking a while. Believe me, I'm getting there. I just started recording the script for it. I just gotta do some animated segments, gather more footage, unrelated footage to the game, to back up my points for the game, and yeah. It will be coming. It will be coming around December. If I don't finish it in time, around November at my aunt's house, I'm gonna have to do the rest at home. So yeah, the new Animaniacs reboot. Animaniacs was one of those shows back in the 90s, okay, it was one of those shows I remember watching a lot back in the heyday of Kids WB. Besides Static Shock, the original 5 season of Pokemon, Kanto and Hoenn, and of course Jackie Chan Adventures, Yu-Gi-Oh, and many other shows I remember watching, and Batman Beyond, I remember watching a lot, of course. Animaniacs probably was the first Saturday morning cartoon I was very excited to see, besides Pinky and the Brain. It was lively, it was loud, it was funny, it went over kids' head. Sadly though, I watched this show when the show was almost about to end, like around 1997, 1998. However though, Nickelodeon did air the reruns during that time, and I caught up with it in the early 2000s when the reruns were still airing on Nick. And of course, I was very excited when the show was on the Hub. And it gave me something to watch during the mid-2010s, seeing how a lot of crappy Mario cartoons was around. Well, until 2017 when they actually took it off the Hub, put it on Netflix, and now it's on Hulu. So yeah, this new Animaniacs reboot. I'm going to talk about my positives. For one, the animation looks 50% beautiful. I can't say it's 100% beautiful, but the character designs are spot on, especially for the main Animaniacs trio, the Warners, Yakko, Wacko, and Dot, and Pinky and the Brain. Brain feels a little bit off because he has a bigger head and he's somewhat less expressive than he is in the original. Just compare some episodes from Pinky and the Brain and some older Animaniacs segments to those shorts into these new shorts, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And Pinky does look a little bit off when he has a worried or sad expression, but when he gets excited, it's actually pretty funny. But the animation for the most part is good. Why do I say 50% of the time? Because half of the human characters don't even feel like they're from Animaniacs. Half of the human characters feel like they're from the Looney Tunes show or Wabbit, for that matter, which brings me to the next part, the humor. The humor, just like the animation, is 50% positive, 50% negative. What I mean by the humor is, I do like how the fact that they end up saying that they're in a reboot, and then they end up seeing these shows getting rebooted, even though Charm still stayed on the air since 1998, and X-Files have been on the air since 1996 or 1995, whatever. And I'm surprised they actually poke a few stabs at Disney with That's So Raven. And I do like how in the first Pinky and the Brain segment, Brain claims that he's the one that started the internet, even though it was Bill Gates that really kickstarted the internet in the mid-90s. And I do like it that he almost won, but however failed because Pinky was distracted by something else on the internet. I like the other segment called Bun Control, where not only it makes fun of gun violence. I was laughing so hard when I saw that anime parody. Yeah, we saw this in the trailer, but the moves that they end up making is hilarious. And these references to other anime like Wacko doing some sort of protective spirit bomb barrier, and Dot having a weapon out of Sailor Moon, and Yakko, which this is the part that made me laugh the hardest, using a Rocher gun on the guy who was actually going to sell the bunnies to them. That made me laugh so hard that I ended up saying, what the heck? They have a Naruto reference in the new Animaniacs? But either than that, though, this new Animaniacs is great. Okay, there are a couple of gripes I don't like about this show. Well, for one, the second Pinky and the Brain segment and the third one is kind of lackluster. It's like this is the third or fourth time Pinky and the Brain try to control a dragon in medieval times, and they failed. The first time being, they try to get a dragon's toenail. The second time, they actually built a robot dragon. And now this third time, they actually get the dragon to actually wreak havoc in the village, just to turn out that he's just a thespian actor and he takes it way too literal. Then the third Pinky and the Brain segment felt like a rehash of an old episode. Except, let's actually swap the roles. Instead of Brain running for president, he runs for congressman. And let's just say, it did not make me laugh. I was thinking in my head out loud, didn't they already do this already? And like I said earlier, the biggest flaw is that this show 50% of the time just feels like they got jokes, and the scenarios just feel like something ripped out of a Looney Tunes show. Meaning that, how in the Looney Tunes show, they show Bugs and Daffy, and then they cut through all the other characters very fast, like we don't give a damn. That's how I feel about this Animaniacs reboot. They focus on Pinky and the Brain, and the Warners that actually lacks variety. And my third gripe is Rob Paulsen as Yakko. He still does Pinky pretty perfectly, but I think due to this throat cancer, he can't do Yakko, because Yakko's pretty much like Groucho Marx mixed with the high-pitched voice of Bugs Bunny. And let's just say, I'm just hearing more of his regular voice, and I'm assuming that's why they probably got a double voice actor to do some of the songs and some of the lines. And of course, this show actually lacks the other characters in the show, like Slappy Squirrel, the Good Feathers, Buns and Mindy. I could understand taking some characters out, like Katie Kaboom, but you could have kept the hippos. I sort of miss these characters. I know Sherry Stoner doesn't want to voice Slappy. I know she's working on other cartoon projects. But couldn't they get the lives of Grady the Isle, the current voice actor who actually does Daphne? I heard that she could do an elderly woman voice, Grady the Isle Griffin. Not only that, couldn't they get the voice of Darwing from, The Amazing World of Gumball, Kristen J. Thomas, to do Skippy? And couldn't they get Adriana Baltino, or is it Bantino, to do Rita the Cat? Because I know Bennett Peters is kind of expensive. It's seen how Broadway is out of the quote unquote business due to COVID. I know hiring her would be actually pretty expensive to get, but Adrienne Bonneau could actually do a singing voice. The voice of Catwoman from Batman the Animated Series. I mean, just research some of her songs. She has a beautiful singing voice. And you could have get like Tom Kenny to do Pesto and Jeff Bennett to do Bobby. Because this new Animaniacs, focusing on two segments, it's kind of lackluster, of course. There are segments I do like this one Guardian Gnome character that actually pops into people's mouths, saying that, oh, stop trolling. And there is another segment, but I didn't really like it. It was about this one alien who's trying to, quote unquote, take over the world. But didn't they do this in Pinky and the Brain? And you had this little girl character, and I'm like, why they could have just bring back Buns and Mindy? I know Buns and Mindy were the weakest out of the Animaniacs shorts, but maybe 2 shorts could be good enough. I can think of some areas, like, hell, maybe you could have Mindy running through an anvil factory, and then, Buttons had to go rescue her. And then you see all these handbills falling on Buttons, and then he ends up going into this shed that has lots of explosives near the end. Or hell, I could think of one scenario where it takes place in the Inhumans world, where Mindy plays the place of Little Luna, and Buttons is like the lockjaw, and then you see Mindy end up running off from Antolin, and then Buttons end up using his teleporting powers, kind of like lockjaw, but ends up going around the world, and yeah, but I don't know if that will be perfect. I don't know if that skit will go on, because Disney owns Marvel, but yet again, Hulu is owned by Fox, and Fox is owned by Disney. Plus, I think the structure of Animaniacs was a little bit better. Like, in the original show, you show the Warners, then Pinky and the Brain, then you show these other cast of characters in there to have variety, and probably 2 segments like Good Idea, Bad Idea, The Randy Beaming Kid, and much more. I'm not saying these new segments suck, but half of them are mostly shown by the Warners, usually a little song or two, which I know Animaniacs is known for, but I think that old structure is so much better than the new structure that they have currently going on, which again leads me to the intro, seeing how for the first part, it feels real lively, real colorful. It feels like you're about to go on this big ensemble parade, but when it gets to meet Pinky and the Brain and meet the CEO of new diverse characters, yeah, the lyrics just kind of don't roll off the tongue compared of good feathers flock together, slappy wax 'em with a purse. Also, the new Animaniacs could incorporate some new characters in the middle. Like, I can think of one new character I have on top of my head. You can have these 2 girls named Chris and Terry. Chris is like, she's the hard rocking, grungy, punk rock teenager who wears all these punk rock clothes from the 90s. And then you can have her good-mented, more responsible sister named Terry. She is a hippie fascination who loves the 70s stuff, and then she always gets pissed off and jealous that Chris gets all the work, because Chris gets all the credit, because but then at the end she's like a total slacker. Yeah, it'll be something rip out a regular show, but it could work. I mean, granted, though, I am describing like those characters because they're kind of like background characters, like you've seen before on What's New Scooby-Doo from the roller coaster ride episode. But probably take that concept, but expand upon it, new writers, please. They did show this one sketch in episode 5 where the Warners are getting hunted by an Elberfud British knockoff, which sadly though, he only showed his gun once, probably due to the gun violence. That's my other gripe. The violence is not as heavy or hilarious like the other show, but yeah, to get to the point, they show this one hunter, and then it turns out to be Chicken Boo, and he ends up capturing all the characters on the show, minus the Warners and Pinky and the Brain. And then after that, all the other characters make a cameo, but they end up chasing his ass. Which I gotta say, throughout the old Animaniacs series, Chicken Boo, his disguises, I will admit, are pretty weak. Even one episode where he just wears a mustache. But this probably has to be his most clever disguise ever, which caught me off guard. But yeah, even though it was nice to see all the characters make a cameo, but still, they could have been in the fucking reboot. It's my gripe. It's like, they don't use a lot of risque parodies or jokes. They use some risque parodies or jokes, just not all the time. Will I be seeing more of this reboot with my aunt or by myself? Maybe, but if a season 2 comes, I'll definitely watch it. So yeah, this is my mini review of Animaniacs, the reboot. Stay tuned, I have more videos to come.